Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap, 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think, 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His
The Wigan Way podcast is brought to you by Cherry and White Pins, a local Wigan Warriors themed pin badge company with a variety of Wigan ranges. You can get free shipping on all orders when you use the code THEWIGANWAY, that's The Wigan Way, all in capitals, at checkout. Thanks to them for supporting the show.
So this week, we're back with the Wigan Way and we are back top of the table after a very, very good win over Hull KR, 24 points to 20. Lads, it's good to be back with us back on top of the league, first of all. Always better after a very good win. How are you doing? Matty, how's
Brilliant,
your week?
yeah. What a brilliant game we were treated to on Friday night, and we'd love that to be every week, wouldn't we? It was a brilliant match. Both teams played really well, and the club got it right with the pre-match entertainment, and it felt like a big game, didn't it? And it wasn't just two teams that were playing really well. It felt like a big game.
There was that buzz, wasn't there, as you walked into the ground. We walked down together and you could just feel it building.
Pyro makes a big difference. The light show made a big difference. I know people are a bit down on light shows, but if it's like that,
It's done properly.
It made a good difference.
Lewis, have you been, mate?
Yeah, really good. Echoing what Matty said. Fantastic game. I don't know, at the time, it's kind of squeaky bum time, isn't it, when you're behind on the scoreboard? But it always feels good at full time when you come back from behind, isn't it? And you manage to come back and get a win, and what a comeback it was.
Yeah, you're right there, aren't it? There's games, aren't there, where you finish like you get off to a flyer, and then the game's over by 30 minutes, 40 minutes. At half time, you sort of know the results in the back. And it's just a question of how many. Were games like this when either side could win it at any point. Okay, I got ahead, we come back, and they're exciting. The what Super League's meant to be, in my opinion. Games like that are what...
Games like that are making Super League survive, I think.
We need more games like that. So 24-10 we won. 12 points.
24-10?
24-20, sorry. 24-20.
End of podcast.
24-20 was the full-time score. Half-time, Hull KR were winning 12 points to 8. Tries for Wigan. Marshall got a double. French, Junior December and Miski. Kieran kicking 2 from 5 attempts. Burgess, Mikey Lewis and Matt Parcell got the 3 tries for Hull KR.
Yeah. When I was writing that up this morning for the match report, I kind of forgot that Burgess finished it. I put Peter Hickey originally.
Yeah.
Because I forgot that he passed it to Burgess right before he was going to score.
Yeah. I want to start with feelings more than what happened in this game. Half time at 12 points to 8. What were your thoughts? I felt we were in it. I was still quite confident, I'll be honest.
Yeah. 2 tries apiece. Felt like we got more territory by playing through the hands and cutting them open a few times. And they'd got territory by us making silly mistakes and giving away penalties. And the end result was 2 tries apiece. And they knocked over 1 penalty. They knocked over 1 penalty at that point.
Knocked over 1 penalty to get it to 12-8, but they'd missed a conversion.
So 2 tries apiece. We got all our meters from running hard and putting it through the hands. And I think we were well up on meters. They were well up on completion rate, and we'd had more errors and more penalties. I think it was 5 penalties to 1 in the first half.
Yeah,
we gave too many penalties away. We made too many unforced errors, which the boys then had to defend. So I thought, pretty even, Stephen. I thought if we can clean it up, we'll be right in the game. We'll probably be in the ascendancy. And I thought they've got to go through the gears more really with the ball in hand. They've got to take more risks because they just had a couple of barge overs from close, didn't they?
I thought it was ours to win, and in the same way as to lose at the same time. But yeah, I thought if we tried, I just remember thinking we've broken. I said every time we went wide, we made breaks, and you know we might not have scored off the actual break, but we were definitely finding ways to and creating line breaks. Whereas, like you said, they were just getting quick play of the balls, and Parcell gets round for one, and a bit headless chicken rugby with loads and loads of offloads in a set, and like you're going to struggle to that for 80 minutes for it to come off. So even though we were down on the scoreboard, I thought actually no, I always felt quite confident and that we was going to be in that game.
Definitely, I just got to echo what you said there. I felt we were still in this game. It was ours to lose, even though we're behind on the score sheet.
Yeah.
You mentioned penalty count then, Matty. End of the penalty count, we conceded 7 penalties. End of the game, Hull KR conceded 5. So a game that we've lost on the penalty count again.
Yeah, but it evened up more in the second half.
Definitely evened up more in the second half. But I find it interesting. There was 2 major calls, and it's probably worth talking about these at the same time as we talk about the penalty count.
Well, Jack Smith's got a lot of hate online for handing Wigan the game mainly due to these 2 calls. The first one, his hands were tied.
Yeah,
I know we'll talk about it. And the second one, he didn't decide.
Should we talk about that now while we're mentioning it? So the 2 ones are the Burgess sin-binning for holding down and delaying the restart.
Yeah, it was a flop when he delayed the restart.
Now, Field's tackled. I know he's still sliding, but he's tackled. Burgess then drops on to slowly play the ball down. I don't get how there's any question marks about this.
No.
There's the other people are saying the ball carrying down and hit the floor, which one isn't in the rules to complete a tackle, and 2, Field's on his back.
He'd give himself up.
Do you know what I mean? Field is literally on his ball carrying is not at the floor because Field is on his back with the ball still gripped at his chest, so it's not going to hit the floor. But that when he's on his back is the tackle complete. Then they can't go and dive on him. That's a flop.
It was a flop. And you saw that with Burgess had no complaints.
That was it for me. If he'd have thought he'd have been hard done to, he'd have got up and said, "No, come on, he was still moving." And there'd have been a bit of an argument from him, and the captain would have said, "I think you've got that wrong." There would have been a conversation. He gets up, looks, and he knows what's going on. He starts. It takes about 3 minutes to walk off. But
And rest.
Oh yeah.
Took about 15.
That's why he got booed.
He stood there for 3 minutes.
I don't think he would have got booed otherwise. He was just he took so long getting off.
He stood there for 3 minutes and he knew what he was doing. Everyone started booing, so he did the slowest little mick take jog thing ever to get off the end of the pitch.
Because he was getting his team back and getting a breather.
Yeah. I can't blame him for it. If
No,
the ref's not rushing him.
No, I'd do it as
Yeah,
well.
but Willie Peters doesn't coach gamesmanship. Willie Peters doesn't coach his players stay down. Doesn't believe
doesn't
believe in gamesmanship.
Ever employ the dark arts to achieving a game of rugby league.
Well, here we go. Let's get on to it. The second one. Jai Whitbread went for 10 minutes for a tackle with shoulder to the head.
Yeah.
It was forceful.
Yeah.
But there's mitigation.
It was
I think was it Sue?
There was mitigation. Sue tackled him.
And bounced off.
And he bounced off, so he lost height.
This is exactly the same as Cade Ellis at Magic the other week.
Oh, it's exactly the same. Yeah, I didn't even think about Cade Ellis. I was thinking about some other tackles. There's been loads of these what have got yellow cards.
And they've been a yellow card
I didn't
all
think about
season.
Cade Ellis. He's perfect. Well, the other guy tackles him and he loses height immediately.
Yeah. Not major height.
He's not meant to hit him high though, has he? He's meant to hit the ball, good ball and all tackle, and his teammates got there first and he's lost height.
But again, I sat there after the Cade Ellis one and said, yeah, in that response there's actually nothing else he can do.
He's unlucky, but
he's unlucky. But at the same time, he could have got lower initially. And if he gets lower initially, then that deflected contact never happens.
This has been a yellow card all season. It's not going to change.
No.
It's a yellow card. And say what you want about Jack Smith, what's even his decision?
No, the video refs give it.
Video ref made it.
And
so
again, it's as clear as day. The comments about Dupree not getting up. I want to say straight away, you've never been able to hit someone in the head. But that's a penalty.
Imagine if
in any season ever
had to take that tackle from Jai Whitbread.
Yeah.
I'd still be there. If he tackled me on Friday night like that, I'd still be there now, in a heap. Just bring some food and water on for me, I'll be fine. But I'd still
have you blended it and put it through a pie?
Oh yeah, mate, I'd get me a straw as well, because I would be in a crumpled heap.
It's always been a penalty. They have upped what the punishment is. But it's been that all year.
That's the thing, isn't it? Do you know, well, I'm switching gears here and we'll talk about this in a bit, but just because it is relevant here. We saw a similar thing in the Saints and Warrington, I think it was Saints and Warrington, and the commentator went, why can't it just be a penalty? And the reason it can't be a penalty is because it's not been just a penalty all year, it's been yellow cards.
Yeah.
But actually, I think all three of us, correct me if I'm wrong, would probably say Ellis is at Magic Weekend. This one from Whitbread, where he is going to literally tackle him absolutely fairly, but then a little bloke comes and hits him and he loses his height. There's nothing just going, it was a complete accident. There's no swinging arm, there's no malice, there's no intention. It was going to be a perfectly legitimate tackle until your mate hit him first. So it is a penalty because you have made contact with the head. But we can't do
We'd
that.
like it to be a penalty, but
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
we can't because it's not been a penalty all year.
But like you said there, yes, it was going to be a completely perfect tackle. But he also knows he's not going to be one-on-one in that tackle. As the defender, what's the phrase they use? Protect, duty of care to the attacker and all that stuff. You've got to know there's a potential for him to drop higher. If Whitbread gets a couple of inches lower, he hits him, still completely fine. It has no impact on how it would have been in the initial tackle. And the same thing I thought about Kade Ellis. If he gets a little bit lower anyway, he takes that risk away.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about
He increases his own risk of getting injured then.
But I don't know how I feel also about this. You've got to anticipate that he could lose height.
Because how much height is he going to lose?
Well, how much height is he going to lose? And when you're going to make a tackle, you're not going into a tackle as a rugby league player going, oh, but I best get just a bit lower just in case he loses like some height. You're not thinking like that.
Lewis,
What in case he slips?
well, he's kicking off. But then they say the attacker's lost height when he slips. They've done that all season. The attacker's slipped and lost height. So
That's why it's a yellow card. That's why we're saying it's a yellow card.
But my point is it's from a kick-off. You're running alongside your mate and you know someone's going to try and hit him and he's going to bounce off or whatever.
You can't predict how much height he's going to lose.
You can't predict how much height he is.
But
Dupree doesn't drop that much. We're not talking him dropping a foot.
No, but he also doesn't hit him on the forehead. He hits him in the chin.
Yeah.
The difference in falls is the difference between the ball and the head. So I think, to be fair, he's unlucky. We'd probably like it to be a penalty, but it's a yellow card.
I fully agree with you on that. It should just be a penalty. But everyone knows if you make contact with the head, it's going to be minimum yellow card. You have no whether there's contact or whether there's prior contact or not. You know if you hit him around the head, it's going to be a yellow minimum. Let's be honest. Whether there's mitigation or not, it's at least a yellow.
If it's forceful.
If it's forceful. So
if it's like an open palm and he just grabbing and he's been stepped, it probably just going to be a penalty.
I would love to look through the statistics because I bet you there's a few teams who have less yellow card for high tackles, and I bet most of their tackles are naturally lower anyway, consistently lower than opposition. And I'm going to include Wigan in that. I think this season, I heard a lot at the start of the season about just you've got to play to the rules. They are what they are. Everyone got the meeting off the refs at the start of the season saying it was going to be a yellow card. So
at the start of the season, it was probably red.
So you train to what it's going to be.
Well, there's been examples of that. I know. Again, I'm switching to a different game here. I'm going back to that Saints, but Sam Burgess' team has had the most cards, I think, this season, and they've actually. I think it was Richard Marshall into the assistant coach who used to be head coach of Salford for one season or whatever. But apparently he's, like I said to Sam, they're training differently in defence based for that reason, because they went in the last however many games, we've had either a yellow or a red card every single game, and we're not doing ourselves any favours.
My point is why are you lining up to hit the top of the ball shoulders when you know if any contact he's going to drop and you're going to get a yellow card? Hit below the ball. You know what the rules are. I'm not saying I agree with them. I don't think that it should be a yellow card. I think it should just be a penalty. But even if you're giving a penalty away, you're doing something wrong.
It's hard, isn't it? And this is the thing. This is why coaches, they know the game better than us. They're going to have to find a way around it. The reason why is because you wrap the ball up to try and control the ruck and slow the play the ball down, but you can't wrap the ball up if you're bending your back and tackling at his hips.
But that's where they get
You've got to
2-3
wrap the
men.
ball up.
But that's where you get 2-3 men in. No one wraps the ball up first.
No, but that's what your coach to do.
from a kick-off like
Essentially.
that, you know what you're doing. One man's hitting middle of the ribs. Another man comes up top and holds him. Third man's taking the legs.
Well, third, it's yeah.
Or
Textbook tackles, meant ball, ribs, knees, and then 3 men on his back and control. Which again, you're not going to get. You're not going to get that. I mean, that's ideally you get that every time, but that's the thing. But this is it. And this is what the coaches have got to find out. Find a way to get your tackles lower while still preventing an offload because you're wrapping the ball up and trying to control the ruck and make sure you get him on his back and not letting him land on his front. That's what the
rules
coach
are the
have to
rules.
do. Yeah, they'll have to coach around.
They've been the rules
I
all
agree.
season. Why are people now complaining about them?
Well, we've not. We've complained all season.
But why is there sudden increase? Why are we now talking about he shouldn't get yellow carded for that? The same way Vaughan shouldn't have got red carded and whoever shouldn't have got yellow carded. The rules are the rules. At some point, they're not going to go back on it, are they?
No, but like I said, I think us three have been consistent. Where again, Cades at Magic, we did say it is a yellow card this season. I don't want it to be. I'm happy for that to be a penalty, but it's ended up being a yellow this season.
But it's going to be a yellow card for the next 45 seasons. They're not going to go backwards now and say, now you can hit the head and it not be a yellow.
No, they won't.
So you're going to have to just adapt and get used to it. There's no point complaining anymore. I'm getting to that point.
Yeah, but I think we are getting to the point where we're not seeing as many high shots.
Exactly. So the rules they've brought in have done the job.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at. It's done its job.
But there's still some here where you're going to be unlucky and someone's going to lose height and you're going to accidentally hit them in the head. There's not as many swinging arms, I don't think, anymore.
No, I don't think there is. And that was the whole point.
I'm not talking about 90s and 80s like, but
And haven't
from 2
they
years
talked
ago.
about they're now not going to implement the new tackle rules? Because they were talking about going below the nipple at one point, weren't they? You had to hit below.
Was that armpit?
Was it armpit? That might have been ignored for now, and they're going to leave it for now. So that's clearly shown there's been a benefit to the rules.
Well, they don't get as many failed head tests from that, then they probably have made the right call. But like we said when they were thinking about bringing that rule in, I would imagine most head tests now that get failed are not from swinging arms. They come from friendly fire or clash of heads. I think we've kind of done away with swinging arms directly to the head.
Yeah.
Unless you're Franklin Pele, obviously.
Well, yeah.
Minchella didn't even go for a head test. Didn't even go for a head test.
Well, that's again a problem, but we could open up another can of worms and talk about that for half an hour. But everyone at HIA's fallen into this, so then responsibility.
But when he left the league, we kind of did say it's because he never adapted to the rules.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't trust him, could you?
No.
You put him on the field, you knew you probably couldn't put him up next week.
And
He was going to do something.
Rules have always adapted. They've always changed. Some playing styles have gone out of fashion. There was a big change when it went to the wrestle and people didn't like it. Now it's the common thing. I remember everyone complaining about the shoulder charge getting removed. But now actually, if you thought about a shoulder charge, you understand why they got rid of it. But at the time, people complained about it.
Hit on suspicion. You used to be able to hit on suspicion.
Yeah.
Like if the referee thought there was a
chance he was
going to get the ball, you could just fair game as long as you don't hit him in the head.
So everyone understands it.
But
and everyone's okay with that now.
would sound completely alien now. You get hit on suspicion. What do you mean? Like we were on about Dupree last week, or 2 weeks ago when he got hit on suspicion. You just can't do it.
Exactly. But it was fine 20 years ago, 15 years ago, whenever. I just think at some point they just have to adapt and get over it. And I'm not saying players should stay down holding the Reds.
But at this point, it's all they can do.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for weeks. I think we were just saying before we started recording, then it's coming to the public eye or the rugby league eye a bit more now because we've had Burgess have a rant last week, we've had Willie Peters have a rant this week, so now Simon Griggs before that. But there's been, like I said, I think that's why we've been talking about it for weeks, but it seems like it's the talking point for the last couple of weeks because the coaches are now starting to.
You found me a team that hasn't done it this year.
Exactly.
They're
all doing it.
They're
all doing it.
Because they have to.
Exactly.
You can't. If everyone else is doing it, you can't not do it.
What would have happened?
The Joneses.
What would have happened if Dupree had just got up, played the ball, and then he has to get dragged off for a head test? Wigan have lost a man potentially for a HIA and not got the penalty from the event that's caused it. Now the other one, probably worth mentioning, was obviously Miskey stayed down.
Yeah. Again, I would have stayed down if I got that bell ringer.
Absolutely chopped him in
I
half.
feel like he just got winded.
Yeah, it was just a big
I don't think he was complaining about a headshot because he shook hands with the guy straight away.
No.
I think he was just winded. He
Just
had no breath.
This is the thing with oh, he's doing. You can generally be a rugby league as
Yeah,
well.
I
Like,
think
you're
you
not
get-
always faking it.
Why
Rugby
did
league hurts
Why did he not go for a
sometimes.
head test? Because he's probably broken 3 ribs.
Because he was holding his stomach.
He was holding his ribs. Yeah.
So you can get injured. And
You're
it
allowed
hurts
to get
in rugby league,
you're allowed to get injured, not your head.
Yeah.
You know, other parts of
Legitimately.
your body can get injured, and Miski, his ribs were injured, and I can understand people say, "Oh, well, somebody else should have played the ball then if it wasn't a head injury."
A green card or whatever.
But it was his ribs and his chest that he was feeling.
It's really interesting, and I do want to mention it. The green card, there was loads of people saying he should have gone for a green card, but the actual rules have now been modified at the start of this season to say the green card. I'm going to read it out just to tell you all. The green card will continue to be used in the circumstances described below, but only in the Betfred Super League, and only be shown to a player on the defending team. It can no longer be shown to the ball carrier. And the whole point of that is, why would a ball carrier stay down and gain an advantage? At what point is a ball carrier going to stay down and get an advantage? A defender might stay down
To stop the quick play of the ball and win.
to slow the game down, gain an advantage, get your breath back, whatever. But I can't think of a situation where an attacker's going to stay down and get an advantage out of it, other than boring the defensive line. Right?
No, it's trying to speed the game up, isn't it?
Yeah.
So an attacker wants the game sped up.
Yeah.
So you can't get a green card if your team has the ball.
Yeah.
But that's been the rule all year.
Yeah.
And that's why we've only seen 2 green cards, and it was Smith and Sneed.
And it also says, by the way, that it's only if the doctor or physio instructs the referee to stop the game. So a referee can see something, think that's a bad one, and stop the game. If the physio says you need to stop it, then it's a green card. So it's on the referee. Right, I feel like we've gone off on a bit of a rant there, haven't we? At least we don't need to talk about it now in the game, I suppose. Should we get into it?
Go on.
Matt Parcell opens the scoring after a tense 20 minutes. Again, a few Wigan mistakes. I think there was a knock-on from Luke Thompson before this one. Or was that the second try? We had a bit confused there between them.
I think it's this one. Was it the first knock on that brought the arm wrestle was by Havard. In about 5 minutes. It was about a 5 minute arm wrestle going set for set, and you went, it's either going to be a penalty or a mistake. That breaks it, and it was a mistake.
We blinked first, my dad said. And Minchella celebrated like it was Sylvester Stallone at the end of Escape to Victory, jumping up and down like he just won the FA Cup final with a penalty. Just for an unforced error. I think that actually detracts from your team a bit. If you see
Didn't they possibly two up for it?
well, I don't know, but because they were clearly up for it just the right amount. Because that first half they were pretty decent. But I think sometimes when you see your captain going and waving his arms like crazy just because there's an unforced error, I think sometimes you need your captain to just be.
Job's not done yet.
Yeah,
You need to still get some points.
do that when you've scored.
You need to make them suffer
I'm
for the
fine with it. If you over celebrate when you score, I'm all for over celebrating when you score, but you have to score first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Unless it's the last second.
Yeah.
No, if the team knocks on and it's the last second you've won. But yeah, you can celebrate.
But Parcell opens the scoring. Good carry from Sue. Leaves Havard trailing behind. He sort of brought through the tackle. Lehman and Havard put him down, but Havard's not able to get back in at marker. Matt Parcell does what he's made a career of. Jumps out of the line. Jumps out from 9, beats Cade Ellis on his inside shoulder.
This actually caused 2 tries because I'm not sure if you picked up on this, but in the second try, Lehman doesn't trust Havard defensively, and it's just a little moment of weakness where he jumps inside because he doesn't trust Havard on the crash ball, which leaves a space for Lewis.
Well, we'll talk about that. Obviously, Michael Lewis scores 5 minutes later to make it 10 points to 0. I fully get what you're saying there, Matty. I just think there's too many missed tackles.
Yeah,
There's 3 one-on-one missed tackles.
yeah, but look at our line.
It's all over the place.
It's going sideways, and you never, unless you're all sliding the same direction, you never want your players go like flying sideways, opposite directions.
Yeah. Good play. Good play from both. You've got to credit where it's due. Lewis sees where the defence is a bit open and attacks really well.
He's done that multiple times.
He has,
Put
yeah.
a big step on and come
He's good
back.
when you get him close to the line. He's good, isn't he? He can just find his way over. He's not like he used to be. He wouldn't have scored in the past there. He can actually get himself. He can will himself over the line a bit more now.
Yeah. 28 minutes. It's 10 points to 0. Hull KR in really, really good ball. May is at 9. Sort of jumps out a little bit off the cuff. No one really has a clue what's going on. I think this is probably the downfall here. That phrase that I hate, and I'll put a pound in the jar, but he's playing eyes up footy. But if you look at the Hull KR attacking line, Broadbent's set out back waiting for a play. Hiku's already on the charge for a kick. Burgess is on his wing trying to hold it, and it's like 2 or 3 things have been set up and no one knows what's really going to happen. May puts the kick over and it's just a bit too long for Hiku, but then there's no pressure on Wardle. From that immediate moment, there's no pressure because everyone's all in different mindsets. Jake Wardle, what a player. I know we say it every week, but does incredibly well. Dummies with Marshall and gets back inside, pushing Parcell off.
He just always makes the right decision. He knows when to pass, he knows when to dummy, he knows when to go outside, he knows when to step inside.
Yeah.
He just makes the right decision all the time. Don't give it Marshall, dummy and go.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention, I mentioned it to you beforehand, you guys. Minchella's effort here. For me, he does all the hard work to sprint across and then just doesn't put the tackle attempt in on Wardle.
It's like waiting. I don't even know what he's trying
I think
to
he's
do.
waiting
I think
for
he's just trying to stop an inside pass early on, but you got to take the man with the ball.
Yeah. And it was very strange for me that he didn't make a tackle attempt and that left Wardle and Field still running. Field gets early ball and obviously beats Hall. Oliver Gildart, good tackle from Gildart. Obviously chasing back after Field.
Yeah, Field was running sideways when he went to go around Ryan Hall.
Yeah. But Burgess then flops on, gets his yellow card.
Yep.
And that sends Hull KR down to 12 with 11 and a half minutes to go of the half. Doesn't take Wigan that long to punish from this. That block play that we talked about many a time. Forward to Smith, to French and Field. Obviously the attack's still not at its best. Do you think there were signs of it getting better here?
Yeah, it's always going to, isn't it? When you've got your first choice players, Bevan French costs a lot of money for a reason.
And again, though, but even before the tries in the first 20 minutes or so, we kept on making breaks when we shifted it out wide. We didn't really execute to get points from them, but we were definitely breaking the line. So I think the attack was probably the best it did look for a good couple of games here, even just with the breaks we were creating, even when we didn't manage to get points.
And I think that's going to be the big thing for the next 2 weeks, is continuing to build them partnerships over the next 2 weeks ready for the playoffs. Obviously, when was the last time they played all together, all 3 of them?
Challenge Cup final.
Challenge Cup final. Obviously Smith didn't play last week, but Field and French did.
It's absolutely shocking, isn't it, that Harry Smith can go back to doing what he does best and looks like a brilliant player again. Absolutely shocking.
But in this try, Field, we talked about him a few weeks ago and his decision making. Great pass, picks the right pass. Kieran runs a really good line, and I want to mention Adam Kieran. He had a great. I think he struggled a little bit defensively up against Tanganoa.
I think he had a decent game.
Which anyone does.
I think considering he was going against a pretty good left edge, I think he had a decent game.
I think he put some good shots in.
But his meter making was what caught my eye.
Tough carries as well.
He took a lot of big carries on second and third tackles when we hadn't got yardage.
It's weird because when we signed him, everyone kind of said, "Oh, you won't get those tough carries out of him. He's not that kind of centre." But actually, I think he's done fine at that.
Yeah, yes.
I think he's got better as well.
I think everyone was so in love with Toby King that they were looking for a reason to not like him. You know what I mean? And I get that. We were all big fans of Toby around this table, but yeah, I like Adam. I think he's actually turned into a pretty good player. Basically finished it for breakfast.
He did. He eats those for breakfast.
Speaking of Toby King, yeah, Toby King's famous quote.
He eats these for breakfast.
It's a brilliant finish. Obviously, we were sat along that side. Did anyone think he'd got it down?
Yeah, he's an expert in that situation.
Yeah. So did I. I thought it was guaranteed. I don't know why I thought that, but it just looked like a try and just
Well,
thought
he
he
usually
finished
gets
it.
those right.
When he first went, I thought it's 50-50.
Yeah.
When I saw the replay the first time, I went, no, he's got it.
Yeah. 4 minutes later, Junior December scores for Wigan, but it's a strange move. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who we played at home, and Cruz Lehman went back across the against the grain.
Yeah,
would be
come
the
back
phrase.
to the blind side, if you like.
French does the same thing. Wardle gets the ball to Smith, and
We've
Smith
just
to
made a
French.
break here, haven't we?
Yeah,
Is that why the defensive line's at 6 and 7?
It's all going left to right as we look at it.
Yeah.
And the flying across, Ryan Hall, the left winger, had come across to help with the break, and he's flying across. And then Bevan French just puts a right foot step on, beats Hall back on the inside.
Because he's quick enough to do that, to stop completely still and then go the other direction.
But then suddenly we're 6-on-2 on the right hand side.
That's what it causes. That's exactly what it causes. But depending on who you have there, if it's not Bevan French, you might not be quick enough to do that.
Yeah. Gets the ball to December, tucks the ball under his shoulder under his arm from 15 out, and dives in the corner.
Himself, didn't he? I know logic probably says shift the ball onto Wardles because he's quicker than you, but I don't mind Junior backing himself.
No one's tackling
Exactly.
Hull KR kick a penalty to take it 12 points to 8. Obviously, Kieran had missed both the kicks for Wigan, both from the last blade of grass.
Tricky kicks again, yeah.
Smith had a kick too.
Well, I think it's Smith's fault, apparently, according to some fans, because he let Adam kick. So it is still Smith's fault that these didn't go
So
over.
when Smith kicks versus Adam Kieran should be kicking, and Adam Kieran's kicking him, Smith should be letting Adam Kieran
Smith shouldn't be letting Kieran... Why is Smith letting Kieran kick? They were tricky kicks.
Jack Farman would have kicked him.
Yeah, that'll be our next thing.
Yeah.
Should have kept Hankinson.
He was a brilliant goal kicker.
Goal kicker Chris Hankins.
Yeah.
You remember should sign Josh Mantellato? Do you remember that? When
He could not.
Speaking of KR, yeah.
He played for KR, didn't he? But before he went to KR, he played for Italy in the World Cup and he kicked absolutely everything. And
The thing with Wayne, wasn't there?
Wayne said, we'll not sign Josh Mantellato because he'll have kicked 6 goals to make up for the tries he lets in his defence. I just think that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Brilliant comment.
It's what they say, innit? You pick your best 13,
Yeah.
and then you pick your best kicker out of that 13.
Adam Kieran is the best kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 minutes later, we'd had the field possession here, and we talked about it. There is no bigger momentum shifter than a 100-metre intercept try.
It's a 100-metre intercept. Absolutely just pops the balloon.
Just-
you get a comeback. You're just 4 points behind. You get a comeback. The balloon is slowly inflating, and it just pops, and all the air is
The
released.
good thing about this was at the time we conceded it, we still had 30 minutes left. So there was a bit of time to just get a bit of momentum back.
Yeah.
But if this would have happened 5-10 minutes later with the scoreline still
Would've
the
killed
same,
it.
it would have
Absolutely.
absolutely demolished it.
Because you're looking for a try. You're thinking, right, we've got a chance here. We've got a chance for a try. Was there a 6 again or a penalty or something?
Yeah, we had 6 again on the
And it
line.
was like, okay, we've got a chance here to score a try. Let's put it through the hands. And all of a sudden, you've got the other team's got 6
I think
points.
it's just a really good read from Hiku.
And it just, because I thought when he went to the screen, I thought, well, check for offside.
I have not got a clue why he didn't.
No, I've seen it back now, and I know why he did it. It's because Hiku and Burgess are so fast that the ref and the touch judge couldn't keep up because they were all going the way of the attackers. They couldn't keep up, so they hadn't actually seen the ball grounded, which is
fair
why
enough.
they have to go to the screen.
But I did think they
You know,
would
with
check.
the no in goal judge, if there was an in goal judge, it would have been easy.
Yeah.
But I thought, he's checking the offside.
Yeah.
He's checking the offside, and I've looked back and he's onside.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's fine. So it would have still counted. But then when it just showed him grounding the ball, I was like, well, why did he check that?
But again, you talk about it, and this is where I think we'll learn from it. If we get Hull KR at some point in the playoffs, or potentially the grand final or whatever, this is where you've got to learn from it, Smith French Field, that potentially Hiku shooting up.
You could try and exploit Hiku being greedy. You could try that.
Because if Hiku doesn't get the intercept and it makes French's hands, French Marshall Wardle are 3-on-1.
We did that with Newman last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
We knew Newman was greedy with the intercepts, and when we played him at our place, he had a few. And then
when we played him at their place, we just picked on him in that side, and Wardle's got a hat-trick because he was being a bit greedy.
And that's sort of what I was thinking of. I couldn't remember who it was against.
It was against...
But that's very easy. A 3-on-1 against Burgess, who hasn't shot up alongside Hiku, and potentially leaves a very easy walking try.
We'll see. We'll definitely keep our eye on that because, that could be a bit of a game changer.
Yeah. And that took it to 20 points to 8.
So deflating, though.
Yeah.
So deflating.
It is. Like at least we had half an hour for around two converted tries, goes back level.
Yeah.
Now,
did they kick a penalty before or after that
they
try?
kicked the penalty straight after half time.
Oh, straight after half time.
It was 12-8 and they kicked it 2 minutes in. Do you think that was a strange idea? I understood it going to 6, but I also thought they might try and...
No, I don't mind going to 6.
I didn't mind it, but I just had a feeling they might have gone for the kill and tried to get to 10.
Considering how they scored their 2 tries, I guess you could say.
I also thought maybe just spend some time early down there.
Yeah, I know the first penalty was probably because they kicked it whilst they had birds in the sin bin.
12, and there was a minute left.
So I can understand that. But I said to you, it did seem like the game plan that, because then when they had the second option, they went for 2 again. So it seemed like a plan was whatever opportunity we have to just keep that scoreboard ticking on, we're taking it. So it seemed to be
I just thought there was potential there to say, listen, we're 4 ahead, 2 minutes in. Let's make Wigan make 6 tackles, then try and get a repeat set.
They got 2 tries from that in the first half, didn't they? So there's an argument to say that, but I don't mind going 4-6.
No,
especially if your goal kicker is, let's say, not exactly Reece Martin.
Yeah,
you're going to go up in 4s rather than 6s. If you're scoring them out wide, so
there'll be a better team for that next year. Just for that,
with Martin kicking the goal,
they'll
go up by 6 each time.
Near enough. Wigan, 8 minutes later. Bevan Frenchie is special. Have you seen the thing going around on Twitter? At what point will Bevan French be considered a Super League great? I think he's nearly there, mate.
Yeah, if he wins it again, yeah. I think if he had stayed fit all season, he would be a shout for Man of Steel.
I think he'd be a shoo-in.
Therefore, you think he'd probably be a shout for Man of Steel again next year. If he wins a second Man of Steel, or he gets in the Dream Team again, and he wins the competition again, I think he has to go down as a Super League great. He'll have won 2 Super Leagues, 2 Challenge Cups. He's been in the Dream Team already 3 times.
Yeah, 3 different positions.
In 3 full seasons. He's been a Man of Steel. If he sort of adds to those stats a couple more, he definitely will be. He's won the World Cup Challenge, and he was the man of the match in that game. He was the man of the match in the Challenge Cup final. You wouldn't bet against him being the man of the match in the Grand Final.
I want to say, I never thought I'd see anyone that excited me as much as Sam did. But I think French is up there. I'm not saying he's bet more.
French is exciting, isn't it?
But just gets you on your feet. He's such a player that just gets you excited to go and watch games of rugby. And when this ball for the try, obviously it comes from a bad pass from Ellis, bounces, no one really dives on it. Miskey just sort of gets it to French, get the ball in the hands of French, Field Smith. But what do you do as a defender? He starts skipping across, there's no structure.
He's doing it at a time as well. I don't want to get into a Bevan French or a Prime Sam Tompkins debate, but he's doing it at a time as well when the Super League is so much more, I would say, competitive and defences are a lot better. Do you know what I mean? Like, Sam had torn a whole KO apart because back in 2012 he was playing full-back and he was
but he wouldn't have got to score 7 against Hull FC.
The thing, sorry?
That's true, actually.
7 against
Hull FC wants to let him score 7.
But they're just too crap. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but
Hull KO were Hull FC back then.
But I think,
I suppose. And that's why I was seeing so many Hull FC fans going delirious about Wigan winning a match.
And I don't want to be funny, but Leeds were a far better team then.
Leeds, yeah.
There was far better teams then that are now poor now. I don't think that's necessarily a fair comparison to say.
Imagine you had prime Sam Tompkins to put a 6 in this team, put Bevan French on the right wing. Smith, Tompkins, Field, French.
All in one team.
Wardle, Marshall, Kieran. Oh my goodness me.
That's special. That's special.
Could you imagine this? Just
But let's go back onto this.
they wouldn't even bother playing the games. They just give us all the trophies in February the 1st.
Well, let's just go back onto this. What do you do as a defender? French starts stepping inside. He's not really doing anything. He's just walking and jogging and left foot, right foot, big steps.
He just puts it on into nothing.
But
Second best left-footed kick and chase I've seen this week. Second only to Corey Horsburgh. Scored a chip and chase with his left foot.
Big Red.
And that's a prop forward. If you haven't seen that, watch it.
But it's so weird because you're just waiting for him to do something. He's made so many people look silly with that big, ridiculous dummy.
I thought that's what we were getting.
I thought we were getting that. So then you're tempted to stay off him and just back off and not commit. And then he just puts a kick in behind you like that, and you can't take him out, otherwise it's a professional foul and 10 minutes in the bin. So you're stuck. What do you do to defend him?
You can't.
I've lost.
I think the only thing you can do is let him do it and hope he messes it up. The kick's a bit short or he kicks it too long and you can gather it or something.
But he's got that ability, and this will sound weird, that great players have. The ball just sits up for him nice all the time.
It's like he's
Things
playing his
just come
backyard,
off.
isn't it? It is backyard footy, as the Aussies would call it.
It is.
He's doing chip over the top, doing little grubbers in behind, he's backing himself, it's like he's just playing
if the ball
his
doesn't
game and taking
bounce,
pass in
if
his
the ball doesn't
backyard.
bounce his way, it doesn't matter. He'll go again, do another magic moment.
Yeah. It's touch footy. It's brilliant.
It's exciting.
From that kick-off, Jai Whitbread gets his yellow card and they're down to a 12. No real complaints again from Whitbread.
We're not talking anymore about yellow
No,
cards.
I'm not talking about it.
Talk about some tries.
Till we get to say it
Talk about when we get to say it.
Well, we're getting up to this then.
Talk about the injection of a certain number 15 with long hair.
Well, he hadn't come on for the second try.
No, he came on.
Oh, he came on and ran
He
a
came
dummy
on
line.
did he come on when Bevan scored, or did he come on?
He came on just as Bevan had
just as
scored.
Bevan scored, so he came on. Yeah, he played 14 minutes, didn't he?
Yeah. He'd come on. But he doesn't get involved in this try, really. He runs a dummy runner line. But he took a big carry from before.
Through, and Minchella has 3 goals at him, and
Yeah.
he keeps trying to tackle him, and his backside just keeps repelling him.
Well, this try, it's textbook Wigan. Cade Ellis at first receiver, to Smith, to Field, who jumps outside of May and Hiku. They can't get there. Field.
There's a gorgeous adjustment from Jay Wardle, which moves Peter Hicko's hips in. Absolutely gorgeous.
I think that's the second Marshall try that. This one's the Field draws Burgess.
Yeah, but how does Hicko not get? Does Hicko not get drawn in by an underlapping Wardle?
He just gets on the outside of him.
Oh, does it?
It
must have been the other try I was thinking of.
Yeah. Draws Burgess really, really well. And then just puts Marshall in. Marshall finishes for brilliant.
It was a good finish, this.
I think he's unlocking for the dream team, first of all.
This was a good finish. It's his 30th try of the year in all competitions.
Just brilliant. Absolute brilliant.
Well, he'll be top try scorer, so he'll definitely be in the dream team.
And then Wigan score again 4 minutes later. The score's 20 points to 20. Hull KR still down to 12. Lewis, you love a big forward passing to a big forward.
Oh, yeah.
What about...
Take him over.
Wait, let me just describe this. Big forward to big forward. Big forward number 1. Overlaps.
Oh, wrap around.
Did a run around. A forward, Paddy Mago, who I wanted to build a statue of outside the Brick Community Stadium, but did a run around play.
I do want to go back just a moment, because it's the 4 big carries beforehand that stop someone rushing out and trying to deal with him. Because no one wants to deal with him one-on-one. No one in that whole KR line wants to deal with Mago.
No one on the planet
They
wants
want
to do
they want to be working in 3 or 4 to try and tackle him. And it just means he can draw the line. People are backing off. It gives December one-on-one with Hiku, who's always going to struggle, but does a relatively good job. But you can't wrap the ball up and stop December offloading. Mago, eyes up footy. Never thought I'd say them words.
Put a pound in the jar.
I am doing. I happily. And then Mago does what any good halfback would do and gets the ball out early. Gets the ball out early to his centre. Now, this is the movement I want to talk about from Jake Wardle. As he's coming through, it's so subtle, and I know we noticed it live, me and Lewis, we were talking about it. I don't know if you did, Matty. But just watch his movement to get away from May. As he's running at the full back, he just drifts out wide, just a yard.
It's just
as May's about to dive, just drifts a yard wider. He then falls off the tackle. It's 2-on-1, and he's
look at the boys getting pumped up when they scored that try.
Well, that's when you do it.
Such a perfect thing as well, like the late
just
pass.
Drifts away.
Come, there you go.
He waits for two people to commit.
Yeah.
He waits for Hiku to actually leave his feet before he moves again wide.
Yeah.
And then he waits for the last defender to commit before he puts Marshall through.
Yeah. It's as perfect centre play. Like, if you play centre anywhere, just go and watch 5 minutes of Jake Wardle. Or just watch that on repeat, because it's perfect.
Jake Wardle centre play.
It's perfect. And this is where Wigan, almost with that experience of playing in big games and winning close games,
Good win. Really good win.
see off the game.
I want to set Lewis loose on something else about this,
Go on.
because another forward-related point I'm making.
Go on.
Is I think 3 of our forwards have almost set themselves a too high a standard to get noticed.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ellis, Thompson, and Havard. I think those 3, because Mago gets noticed because of what he does. Dupree gets noticed because of what they do. But those 3, Havard, Thompson, Ellis, they do big minutes, they work really hard, and I've never really seen them have such a terrible game, and we can't do what we do without them.
They're consistently above average, aren't they?
Especially, I think Havard this game, I'll give a mention to. He probably didn't start it the best. He had the hour and 5-minute mark where he knocked on and the wrestle kind of broke. He weren't at marker for Parcells' tackle, so, he might have felt. But he just didn't let it bother him.
No.
And he's still a young lad, and, if he got in his own head there, he could have had a bit of a shock, and he didn't. He just stuck to the process, got back into it, did the hard carries, made the tackles, got his head in some uncomfortable places defensively. And he just grew in confidence throughout the game and went on, like you said, to play big minutes and do a good job. So, yeah, you are right, Matty, those 3. I think they're definitely the unsung heroes.
But I think they're also leaders.
Yeah.
Pack leaders.
There's a
What do you
reason he
think?
starts them 3.
Unsung heroes, probably. I'd probably say Havard's the unsung, because Thompson and Ellis do get
Did you get credit?
more recognition than Havard. But yeah, I think what they can do can easily go missed for someone who doesn't maybe know the game. Just think he's doing his job, he's doing the carries.
I think part of our responsibility doing this is to draw the attention to players like that who are just doing a brilliant job, but it doesn't quite get noticed.
Same thing we gave O'Neill credit for before I got
and now you can see a lot more fans saying, "Oh, O'Neill does this. It makes us a lot stronger in the middle." Yeah,
It's amazing how much better you get by not playing. Like O'Neill there, injured. Suddenly people recognise what you were doing.
yeah, it's true.
Havard at the back end of last season got injured, and people were crying for Havard to play. Where Byrne was playing every week and
Getting
carried
started.
our pack for a long while by himself.
but we were down on troops then, weren't we?
And
I think now it's one of our strengths to pack.
100%, yeah.
And it hasn't been. And that's why sometimes I do feel a little bit for somebody like Jackson Hastings. And maybe, I know Lamb kind of had a hand in putting that together, but Hastings, would Hastings be as good behind this pack? We'll never know, will we? Because he was playing behind the beaten pack a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. No, but I do still feel a bit sorry for him.
Yeah,
because
he's not what he's saying, is he?
No,
He's
yeah.
getting the team, he's saying,
The one that's worth mentioning is Smith, because he started behind that beaten pack and got slated for a long time.
Yeah, true. But I think anyone would have if they'd have started behind that pack.
And then suddenly we get on a front foot pack and a pack that's dominant, and you see the best out of him.
What's that saying? Props win pots. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Never a true saying. It's true.
Them 3 I've just looked, all of them made over 35 tackles.
No, I'm not surprised at all. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Thompson made 45, I think it was. Incredible numbers.
But without really being noticeable.
Yeah.
And that might be a good thing for somebody like Thompson.
Now, one thing I want to mention before we cut this short, was Harry Smith.
Oh yeah, to knock that ball out when it looked like he'd have killed us, that one-on-one strip from Lehman, which, to be fair, he knocked on anyway, so it would have been their ball. But yeah, that was a great shot from Smith, and that's what you get from Smith. He's improved his defence loads, and he'd get it underneath the ball.
He's a very good defender, Smith.
He is
I don't
now,
think
yeah.
he actually gets the credit for it. When you look at someone like Mikey Lewis in this game, I thought Mikey Lewis was actually, for them, someone who we could have got at. And I know Johnny, who sits behind us, actually said, put Junior over to that side.
Yeah.
Just have him running over Mikey Lewis for 5 minutes and see what look you get. And I thought, actually, it's not a bad shout. That
I don't think he's
Smith,
a terrible defender, but I think Smith's a better defender.
I think I would agree with that. Yeah, and I do. I think even though probably Smith weighs a bit less than him,
Yeah.
maybe not as big, but he certainly
Clever, I think.
But clever in how he defends. Technique wise, he knows where his strength is. He doesn't go high, bends his back and gets low because he knows if he goes up top, he's just going to get shrugged off. So
I said in the past, I think working with Breers helped with that, because Breers was good at that. He wasn't a physical player really, Breers, but he was clever with his defenders, and he could, the guys he was defending next to helped him out a lot, and he was good at that. But I think if I think about their team, one of the reasons I've actually gained a bit of respect for them is I was thinking they're actually quite a good defensive side. And when I think about the previous teams who we've sort of labelled as contenders or pretenders that have fallen away, and people always bring up Castleford when they got to the final, or Huddersfield when they were the league leaders and then did nothing. They were teams that would throw the ball around and score dazzling tries, and they look brilliant. And don't get me wrong, if you support that side in June, July, August, you're having fun. But come October, that doesn't tend to translate into trophies. Whereas I think what Hull KR have done, they've got a bit of star quality, but their team is built on defence. Don't get me wrong, it's built on defence. Those work hard forwards and defence is what their squad's built on.
Well, funny, I keep on jumping over to the Lion Saints game just because everything we say keeps on relating to it. When Sam Burgess was being interviewed before the game, it was on about the defence, and they said, it seems like more into this year, you have really tightened up in the middle and you focus on your defence. And he said, I think he said his last 12 Super League competitions, when you look back at the statistics, 10 of the winners from the 12 have been the best defensive team that year.
I'm not surprised.
And it is, isn't it? Because that's what they always say, attack wins your games, defence wins your trophies.
When it comes to October time, you need defence, don't you?
Well, you do, especially now when it's grand final weather. You're not going to be throwing the ball about and playing dazzling rugby when it's October time. You're probably going to be in a dogfight where you need to defend and make your tackles. So, yeah, I definitely think so.
You got me thinking about pre-match interviews there. Did you see Matty Pete's pre-match interview with Jenna? She said, "Oh, Hull KR have won the last 8 games. What makes them so unbeatable?" And he said, "Unbeatable? Are they unbeatable?" I think he said it's a bit of a stupid question, really. He said, "Well, they're hard to beat. They're not unbeatable. Else we won't be bothering. If they were unbeatable." I thought that was quite funny, a bit tongue-in-cheek from Matt.
Yeah. He's good with that. What do you think about, speaking of coaches, what do we think about Willie Peters after the game? Well, I've already addressed it.
Yeah.
I don't coach my players to stay down. You probably gathered before from my segment I was a bit infuriated. And I've spoke highly about Willie Peters on this podcast. And maybe again, we said with Burgess last week, maybe it's not a good idea shoving a microphone in front of him after they've just blown a 20 points to 8 lead, and he's going to be frustrated. But I feel like, it was very... Well, I didn't like it because obviously Burgess took forever and a day getting off the field. So it's like, you can't talk about gamesmanship for the teams if your team's not squeaky clean, and your team wasn't squeaky clean, then you can't be pointing the finger at everybody else and hold yourself to such a high standard when you're doing it yourself. But I just thought that's one of the reasons I love Matty Pete. Even when I'm in that, there's games I've watched. I go back to Magic Weekend at Catalan where we got battered last season or something like that, and I'm furious, and I'm ready. And then hearing him at full time, he's always calm. He never seems rattled. Always seems very logical in what he says, and I just think, no, he's got it right there. But he always just chills me back out, and I go, no, he's right there in what he said. He seems to be the only one really. Burgess had a meltdown last week. Wallens have been having meltdowns. Yeah. Peters, who was the only one who was like Matty Pete, who spoke really well, and he's now had I think there's only Matty who's not. Yeah. It's like the top coach. And that's not disrespect to any of the coaches.
Well, McNamara's usually pretty solid for his...
To be fair, actually, you're right.
McNamara's usually quite cool and collected, isn't he, with his post-match comments. But I agree with you. I don't think we should be shoving the camera and the microphone in the face of the coach just before they go off the air, just the end of the match.
Yeah.
You could interview the player of the match, okay, but it's different if it comes from him.
Yeah, I think so.
If it coming from the coach, it sounds a bit worse, I always think.
I think so.
Yeah, good win though.
Yeah, 100%. No, it was.
Yeah,
What do you think? I've got a couple of things I should look at. I actually think, even though they lost, this shows me that Hull KR are serious this year.
I gained a boatload of respect for them.
I did.
I really did, because I thought they'd fall away
I did. And I
about
thought,
halfway through this game.
actually, to come to Wigan, you're away from Craven Park, which you know is a fortress, to lead 20 points to 8 on put in a solid performance, and credit to the Hull KR fans, because they come across the M62 in numbers.
They did.
For a Friday night when loads of them probably booked half a days off work,
Yeah,
or the
they'd
day
have
off
to.
work to come, because obviously they won't be able to make
And
any
they were club-
kick-off finishing at 5 and only getting home for 6.
The club put on the coaches for
They
£1
did.
each, so that must have left early.
So
You know what it's like.
fantastic from but I actually thought that performance on a Friday night in a game that mattered, a high pressure game that's going to probably decide League Leaders Shield. You're not at your home where you're going to have all your fans, but you're going to go away from home to one of the hardest teams. Go and show you're a proper team this year and that you're going to compete, and they did.
Yeah, I've gained a
So
lot
I
of
think
respect
fair
for them.
play to them.
I've got one thing on side. I massively agree with that. I do think they've got to show that they can go to a next level. Because I think Wigan and I think Warrington actually have another gear left. Can they go to the next one? Because Wigan didn't play at the best.
No, we didn't.
We made 9 or 10.
But I'm not
big
sure
mistakes.
KR did. They were very safe.
They were very safe.
I think KR could go to another level if
They
they
didn't
did.
defend that well. When you think about it again in the first half, how often we brought their line, it wasn't their best
don't think-
defensive performance.
that's what
And
I
I
mean.
will credit our attack as well.
That's what I mean. I just think how much better can Hull KR play? I think they can be a bit better defensively, but can they play free flowing against the top team and not make mistakes? Because I think they played a very conservative game
You're very safe, yeah.
to not make mistakes and complete well, which is finals rugby. Like, that's what you do in finals. You play conservative. You keep the ball in where you want to play. But can they break it open? You know, did you get that next step?
What we've seen from Hull KR, and this is what I was saying to Lewis before, is what we've seen from KR that we didn't see in the past from Cass or Huddersfield or any of the other teams, is we've seen them be willing to defend and do the 5-and-5 kick and back themselves and pin teams deep. Where them teams, we saw them throw the ball around. I think it's easier. I think it's easier to go the other way.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you can almost defend your way, and then you can try and break somebody open. It's not as easy if you're free flowing, throwing the ball around. If those first 3 offloads hit the ground, what do you do?
But they defended the way, but they didn't get the win from it.
No, they didn't. No,
And that's it. They've done it. Yeah, they've gone down to 12. They didn't show up in them adversity moments. The 2 times they went down to 12, we talk about how well Wigan do
yeah.
when they're down to 12. They didn't deal with it well. And they didn't manage to defend themselves to the win. If they'd won this 10-6, I'd have gone, wow, these men are the favourites now. But they tried to play safe and defensive and defend well, and they've lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The result defines.
Well, we shall see.
The story.
We shall see where they end up, because they've got another tricky match. In fact, they've got 2 more tricky matches. So do we, for that matter. But both these sides have got tricky games up now. Home, Leeds away. Leeds at home is a tough game. Lee away is a really tough game for KR this week. Really tough. So I'm going to be really interested to see what happens in that game.
Especially, and again, like I just said before, this is almost the situation repeated itself. In another big game away from home. This is to keep your league leaders' hopes alive.
You need to win to stay in the top 2.
To stay in the top 2. So can you go and do it?
Right, I think that wraps it up. We've talked quite a bit there.
That's
A long one. It's going to be a long episode, this, as you can tell. We'll try and keep it short from here, but we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back and talk about what else is going on.
So it's time for this week's set of 6, and we'll start as always with the Eyecatchers. Tom, why don't you go with your Eyecatcher first?
Well, it feels like we've had everything. Angry coaches last week, and this week it's some angry pundits. They jumped on the bandwagon of being angry, mainly at Drinkwater.
Yep.
And staying down and milking penalties. And we've already talked about it. The Drinkwaters, I don't like it. But it was late.
We're in this position where it's been happening all year, and
Yeah.
we're starting to call it out. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll see some change now that people are calling it out. We'll see.
I just sit on the think of it should have been called out when we were on here calling it out in February, March.
Mm-hmm.
And the other things that we've called out, you call it out at the start and you stop it happening. They did it in the NRL.
You're going to nip it in the bud, haven't you?
Do you remember the hip drop over in the NRL?
Yeah.
They did it on, I think Carrigan did one on Hastings, and they all called it out. They got a big ban. And then it sort of died off. Well, there's still hip drops, but they're not as bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's less of them, and I just think call it out at the beginning, not 6 months after the fact.
It's interesting, because if you remember when we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, with the whole staying down fiasco and stuff, I said that in the NRL what started happening was the players started calling out the players and said, like, I've lost all respect for you. And you saw Matty Lees do this with Drinkwater, where the referee gave him a yellow card and he walks back over and goes, hey, you best get off.
Isn't that what got him banned, though?
No.
No,
Was that later on?
That was also when he ran in after a high shot. But this one, he goes up to Drinkwater and just goes, hey, if I've hurt you and you're staying down, you best get yourself off, mate. Best get yourself checked out. Obviously being sarcastic with him. And maybe that's what it's going to take. Players starting to...
But Matty Lees has stayed down for things.
Yeah, I'm not saying...
Saints players have stayed down.
Yeah, I'm not saying...
I think it is.
I'm
he probably thinks it's different, doesn't he? Because he's not really hitting with much force in this one.
Every team's done it.
Yeah, they have. Anyway, Lewis, what's your eye catcher? It better be a bit more light-hearted than that one.
Well, it is, right. So, as you guys know, you two, I always say more the NRL guys of this part, and probably listeners know that in the NRL section, Lewis doesn't say much, mainly because I watch the odd game where I can. And this week I did watch a game. I watched the Dolphins play.
Yeah.
And I like watching that because Herbie Farmouth. I like doing a bit of England watching the NRL.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Herbie Farmouth who caught my eye.
Hammer?
It was not a Hammer who caught my
Gavrilo?
eye. It was not.
Trey Fuller plays full back.
It was not.
They've got some exciting players.
He must be a player.
There is one player who caught my eye for the Dolphins, and it is the Tongan international and Queensland State of Origin player, Felice Kafusi.
Is it because of some bounce down in runs or tackles he made?
Well, he is known for a very good tackle and a lovely tackle technique and shots.
Yeah,
It
he
wasn't
has.
what caught my eye. What caught my eye is his haircut. To quote one of our favourite sitcoms, Phoenix Nars, last time I saw him, he was bald. And he's still partially bald. But if you're not seeing this, if you're like me, you only catch the odd NRL, you're not into NRL, just Google on your phone now Felice Kafusi and try and get an up-to-date image. He's bald with a literal patch of hair right at the back of his head,
the
just
very back,
above
yeah.
his neck. Like
He's
just
got
got a bit
short sides and top, hasn't he?
a bit of hair in there.
Like he's
It's-
definitely gone out there, hasn't he?
It's I've never seen an hairdo like it.
If he had hair like that on top, he'd look like one of the Beatles.
I tell you
yeah,
what,
it's
that long.
You know, it's a horrendous hairdo.
I saw his interview the other week that he said about the playoffs, and if he didn't make it, he said he was having an early trip to Turkey.
Yeah.
He knows he needs it.
Well, I think he'll just be bald again next time we see him.
Possibly, but there it is a lot more light-hearted one. But if you don't know, just give it a Google now on your phone and have a laugh
Watch
because it is
the Dolphins
absolute
highlights.
shocker. What caught your eye?
Well,
Matty,
it's
this
not
week?
really in the world of rugby league, but it's Wigan themed. It's to do with Mike Danson, really, and his son Lucas was at a game I went to on Sunday, which was the women football team, the new women's football team, brand new football team. Danson obviously took over Wigan Athletic Club about, I'd say, 18 months ago now, maybe a bit less. I think it was actually last summer, so a bit less. And one thing he did last year was he stopped this affiliation they had with this women's team, and everyone kind of gave him a bit of stick for it. And he said, "Oh no, we're creating our own." So they've created their own women's team. Emerson Boyce, if anyone knows Wigan Athletic players, Emerson Boyce is the manager.
Bit of a cult hero. There,
He's a bit,
Boyce.
yeah, he's a bit of a cult hero, and they're gonna play at Orrell. You know the ground at Orrell? We used to go watching academy games at Orrell, didn't we? And it was like the fan day.
Yeah.
Used to be at Orrell. Warriors used to train there. They're redeveloping that for £1 million, and the women are going to play there, and the Warriors women are going to play there as well, apparently. But it's not finished.
No.
So they've had 2 away games. This was the 3rd match. They've had to start in the 7th tier of English women's football, and this was their first home game. So they played it at the Brick, and it was free. So we went, and like my wife's family are all big into Latics games, so I went along with them, and actually decent enough day out. It wasn't sparkling standard, and there was 1,500 people there, which is a lot considering it's 7th tier women's football. But actually, everyone was very, very, very enjoyable day.
Positive.
It was positive.
Do you think it shows some long-term investment that Danson wants to have this, and he's looking really long-term,
Yeah.
not just in 3 years, 5 years' time?
Well, he did say to us, didn't he, once, about the women's team. He wants the women's thing at Oral to be the best it can be. And he wants the women's teams in both Warriors and Latics to be the best
well,
it can be.
that's what Lenigan did with Robin Park, didn't he? Turned it to state of the art.
But I think Danson might be seeing there's a big boom coming in women's sport. I think.
Well, it's so good to see. Like, obviously, we've gone back to work now, but we've mentioned previous episodes with teachers, and obviously, I know you two are high school. I'm above you. I'm more college, so they're older when they come to me. And we've just had a new influx of like year 12 kids coming. And I've already got students who I know, like a saying, it's girls saying that they're playing for Wigan Warriors.
Yeah.
I think it's so good that.
And you'll get
and
now that
now
play for
with Wigan,
Athletic.
and that's it. You play for an Athletic, and obviously with Wigan Warriors, I don't know about Wigan Athletic, but I know obviously Wigan Warriors got like a women's academy team as well, so it's giving young girls a goal to try and get signed for Wigan Warriors Academy.
And I
It's
saw
so good that.
There's no point getting success now if it's not built on
No,
something.
you have to
You
build
can
it
tell he's
long-term,
taking a
yeah.
long-term approach.
And his lad was there, Lucas, because there was only one stand open. I could see he was there, and director of football, who was like always says he's working with Relinsky. Called Gregor Riok, I think his name is. He was there as well. So I think it was a big deal, big deal for the town, and from we're underneath the Mike Danson umbrella, so it's worth mentioning.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Go on, Matty, take us to tackle 4.
Try of the week, we've mentioned already. It's Liam Marshall's try. Paddy Mago, Junior and Sember, Paddy Mago, Wardle, Marshall. Wrap around.
You know what I've just thought? Didn't we score a try at Headingley? Mago, December, Mago wrapped around and went under the sticks.
Was that it? In Sember or Pierce Paul?
I think it was December in the 50.
it?
You know the 50-odd?
Yeah, it was the last try. Was Mago got himself a score?
because he then
Was it in
jogged
December?
and put it under the sticks. It was definitely in December.
Yeah.
But he played on the right-hand side.
Yeah. So that they're two creating a partnership.
Yeah.
And there was also the time at London where it was Mago, Chan, Hill or something like that,
Yeah.
was it? Or there was offloads. Forwards passing to forwards. The player of the week, we've said on this podcast before, we give the player of the week, if you score 4 tries, you're going to get a player of the week. But that's rare. And it's happened 3 times.
Three times in like
out
7
of-
weeks.
No, because we gave the player of the week to Kai O'Donnell, Burgess. Did we give it to Hammer? And now Alfie Edgell from Leeds
Yeah.
Rhinos. So we've only
3 out of
given it
4.
4 times, and 3 times it's because someone scored 4 tries. The player of the week is Alfie Edgell for scoring 4 tries, and the big hit of the week, the absolute monster shot of the week, is Jeremiah Nanai on Matt Burton.
I tell you what, they have set him up dirty though.
It was a hospital pass.
Here, Matt, take this one in for us, and then throw it off the floor so he has to jump and catch it.
It was
when
a
he
hospital
looks
pass.
forward, Nanai is flying out.
And he can't stack his feet in the air because he had to
Yeah.
jump to catch the ball.
What a shot this was.
Forget feeding through a tube. I'd have it like on a drip me for that.
That were a big hit, that. So that's the set of 6 for this week. When we come back,
We love big hits on this podcast.
we'll go around the grounds.
So we're going to have a quick talk about the rest of Super League. Plenty of games going on this week. 2 on Friday night. And we're going to start with Leeds Hull FC. Leeds win this game 68 points to 6. 32-0 at half time. When I think I've said enough about Hull FC, they take me to another level of disappointment. I'm so glad I do not support them.
Hull FC's season was perfectly captured in one moment. At the end of the game, James Donaldson He's kicking a goal because he's retiring. It was his last home game. He's kicking a goal, and it's pouring down with rain, and everyone's jumping on James Donaldson because he's kicked this goal and he's retiring. He's played there for a long time, and in the background you can just see Herman SA by himself trudging off, and the rest of his teammates just standing under the post, not knowing what to do.
Like, when you see this performance, and then you see London still fighting, and I know London have got a little bit of a different situation with points to prove. Like they've not been in Super League for however long, and they want to stay in Super League and all that stuff. Where's the fight? Where's the... Listen, we're building for next year. If I was Herman SESA, I'd be trying to rip my contract up. Honestly, I really would.
Got to nudge up the new coach when he comes in, doesn't he? How do you motivate this group of players? They're getting straight on the phone to Sam Burgess.
He has got a very hard
just
job.
say, what did you do when you went into that Warrington?
I think this is even worse than Warrington ever was, I think. These lot have just been... And even your young players have come in and been battered.
Yeah.
They've actually put some of them young players in a bad position.
That's actually what Warrington didn't do.
Yeah.
So Burgess kind of had a chance, with the young players, but
they protected, what was his name? The halfback who's been injured this season.
And
he played a couple of games. They didn't throw him in and just leave him. I don't have words for Hull FC. Leeds, perfect for them to
Leeds keep fighting.
Points difference keeps them in the game.
Leeds have got two tricky games now, Hull KR and Wigan.
They did what they had to do, didn't they?
Both away.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they are both away.
The other game was Castleford Lee. Lee winning 34 points to 12. Half time, Lee was 16 points to 12.
This felt like
16 points to 6. Sorry.
This felt like Castleford were trying to get the magic crowd figure they needed, for the IMG point.
Yeah.
And once they got that, it didn't matter what happened on the field. So I think it was a perfect situation for Lee.
Yeah.
And going to the jungle's not an easy place to go usually. But if they're only focused on getting so many through the door and then, mission accomplished before you can kick the ball, that's the perfect.
And what was that? Because they needed so many to get through the door this year.
For an average.
An average over 7,500.
For an average, yeah. If they got so many in this one game.
It sounds like the average was enough to get them the IMG point.
I've got to say this right, because we've opened this can of worms, I'll only be on it for a second. I've seen loads of people criticising, going, this is why IMG is rubbish, staying in on tick box, how many crowds you get, your catchment area, all that stuff, right? Without IMG, Castleford would have finished 10th, but had 4,500 fans.
They wouldn't have had that new stand with all those nice seats. They wouldn't have had that new big screen.
The rugby outcome has not changed.
No. If anything, they're better than they were last season.
Yeah, the rugby outcome hasn't changed, but at least they've put some effort in the ground.
Yeah.
Make it a nicer place to go.
Yeah.
Try and get people going.
And if you want to complain that 7,500 is the limit and there should be another limit and, Castleford and Wigan and Leeds all get the same number of points for that, doesn't matter, because if you're getting 16,000 fans through the door, you're going to be in Super League. You don't need IMG points. What do Leeds need IMG points for? They're in Super League. You get 16,000, the fan base is enormous.
The success they've had.
They're going to be an A-grade club. Wigan are going to be an A-grade club, St Helens. These who have loads of fans saying, well, it's not fair they get the same points as me when I've got 10,000 more than them. It doesn't matter. You're going to be in. Yeah. They're the ones scrapping who need points.
If every club in Super League averaged 7,500,
we can expand.
But you take... I would happily give up Wigan, Salford, Wigan Saints, Leeds, Wyre, Hull KR, giving up 2,000 fans if it meant that Huddersfield, Salford, whoever, averaged 7,500, because it would make our game look 10 times better. And I mean that. Obviously, I wouldn't want to give up our fans. That's not what
you'd want
that's
both.
not what I mean.
You'd want both, wouldn't you? If every club added 2,500, that would be the ideal situation. Yeah. And there are some clubs that are on the up with attendances, and Castleford's one of them. So you have to respect that.
And there's going to be a buzz about them next year now, because people have gone and watched. They've done tickets. Was it like you could bring 3 friends for 30 quid, something like that?
That's a good idea.
If one of them,
because you can all stand together, you don't have to worry about getting seats together and all this. You can go get the food there, decent food and drinks.
My point is if 100 people have picked that offer up and brought 300 people in, they only have to get 2 season tickets out of it, and it's worth it for me.
Probably, yeah.
2 maybe might be a little bit low, but you get 10 new season ticket holders.
Yeah, but then when your contract's up with your pizza man, he pays more, doesn't he? Because there's more fans through the door, and he contracts up with your bar man. You know what I mean?
You make more money. You just
Long
need people,
term,
though.
you make more money. You need people in through the door.
Yeah. Right. Saturday, Warrington beat Saints 16 points to 2. No tries for Saints.
No tries.
They got Wellesby
Bit
back.
of a feature this season, isn't it? Tries games for them. Not nilled, but no tries.
Wellesby was on the bench, wasn't he?
Wellesby was on the
Came
bench.
after half an hour.
Made a really good tackle on Ashton.
Yeah, threw him over the side at the touchline.
While the game was still quite close.
Yeah, it was.
Yellow cards. And bannings. Fitzgibbon's been given a 1-game ban for head contact. Matty Lees has been given a 1-game contact for running into the ref. I've seen complaints about that.
No, he ran into the ref and it wasn't accidental.
It was accidental.
It was accidental, but he had time to,
But he ran in. As soon as you run in, he's not just like
He's running
walked
in full
into him,
tilt, innit?
not seen him. He's running into someone where the ref is. So he's
So
always going
the
to
ref's
get
got his arm outstretched. I think he needs to do better there.
Just don't
And
trust the
then
ref.
by hit someone late, which I've not really seen. It's a late hit on the passer, is it? So I don't know. Them ones are always a bit subjective, aren't they?
Good win for Warrington. Keeps them in the race.
Warrington did what they needed to do. It was a tricky fixture, this, and they've done what they needed to do.
Yeah.
This is funny now for Warrington. I know we're going to talk about the middle section of the league later on, but Warrington are in a funny position here. Because if Hull KR and Wigan win a game, Hull KR win a game, they can't get top 2. They can't drop out a third.
No, they know they're going to be getting a home match.
How do you manage the next 2 weeks?
I think they'll go for it this week, and then maybe think about resting people the last week if they can't get any higher than third, because they can't drop or go higher. They know they're going to be hosting a match.
They've actually got the luxury of potentially resting players before their first game.
I don't think you rest.
No.
But they're automatically doing it with Dufty and Vaughan. They have to, because of the injury in the
It's
back.
a choice. But I don't think I don't know when Dufty will be back. That's the thing. They were mentioning the second week of the playoffs for Dufty.
Williams gets rested for me.
If you could rush him back for the first week of the playoffs, it made a big difference, doesn't it?
Williams gets rested for me.
We'll see.
Because you've got the thing with the HIA and whatever, where Wigan and KR, if they finish top 2, don't have to worry about that.
The
last game of the season.
You worry about getting suspended.
Worry about getting suspended. But you've got more control over that than an accidental head knock or whatever. So, it's going to be an interesting situation for them. Saints, we'll talk more about them in a little bit. Salford beating Catalan 27-12.
Good win for Salford, this.
Yeah.
Also, I can't believe that wasn't an eye-catcher. You see them chasing after Nicarima.
There's clearly some bad blood there, isn't there, with Nicarima?
Chased after him, and then who jumped in for Salford? Someone jumped in the way. Was it Dudson?
I can't remember. It was one of the forwards.
Yeah. Again, that's disappointing for Salford, that. For Catalan.
Well, they had Tompkins back, didn't they? But it just wasn't enough.
I think that's them whimpered out now.
Yeah. Do you know who they've missed this year? And he's been brilliant for his new team. Tyrone May.
I was going to say Mickey Matt, mate.
Yeah, I know they've not had him a lot. They've not had him in on the
KR
field enough. He's going to KR next year as well. But I think May, because May, we've seen him play really well for his new team, and he wasn't really given the plaudits when he played for Catalan. But I think they missed him.
I think it's been a very tricky season, this one, Catalan.
I feel for
Mike. I said I think they were going to go down, go down the league table, because I thought Tompkins and Pearce were 2 massive misses. Add on to that 3 players got sacked for the off the field incident.
But did you back this?
Did you
back him missing the 6?
I can't remember. I put them at 30 in every
predictions.
I remember I put them.
Sixth,
I think I did put them lower because I remember I went Warrington.
You had Warrington
third,
highest,
and people didn't agree. But I think you put Tompkins and Pearce out. I thought they were going to struggle. They're 2 important players for the Spine. You thought Nicarima was coming in to replace one of them. He goes off. Takiaho is a big leader for them. NRL experience.
Yeah.
Former Tonga captain. Eagles because he gets the sack.
It's
A lot.
weird that 'cause he's not played a lot, but they re-signed him after letting him go.
Yeah, there is. That's what I mean.
They let him leave
There's
and then they
been-
re-signed him.
There's been a lot of like stuff going off field for Catalan, so yeah, a bit of a tricky season this one.
Good one for Salford though.
Yeah,
It is. Gotta
I was
give
going
credit
to
to
say that.
Salford.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Salford actually have been excellent at home all year.
And going back to again like what we predicted at the start, we all thought Salford were going to struggle with the
Yeah, with the
lack of
squad
squad
depth.
depth, and
They made a few good additions though.
they have.
They have to get fourth for me.
Lewis was a good, not you. Lewis was a good addition. Logan Lewis, and Nicarima obviously we spoke about last week. Well, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was.
I think Ethan Ryan's been a good buy for him.
Yeah.
He's played a lot of games. But for me, Salford have to get fourth. If they want a chance of doing anything in the playoffs, they need at least one of these. I can't see them going away and winning, and then winning away again, if that makes sense. They have to get fourth and try and get a home game in there.
They've been so good though. They've been
But their
really,
away
really
record's terrible.
good. Yeah, they're
Is it like 3 wins or something away from home?
Yeah, they have struggled away from home. But the flip side is true. They've hardly lost at home.
2 games, isn't it? I think they've
I
lost
don't know
at
if
home.
they
I
lost
think they've only
one.
lost 2 at
They
home.
lose one recently. I don't know.
No, that's only 2 games they've lost at home. Both to Wigan. Says a lot. Last game, Huddersfield, London. 22 points to 16.
Yeah, 22-16.
They were winning 16-14 London. And
Yeah,
after
but
the way that Hull FC played.
Huddersfield were up at half time by 8 points, I think.
Yeah.
And then London come back into it, and then it was a big momentum swing. With it, there was a nice try for Rushton to cap it all off. But the thing that got in London's way was the penalties.
Yeah.
Because they did get 3 tries each in this match. Did they get 3 tries each?
Yes.
Yeah. And it was the penalty goals that killed them. They were giving away, I watched the second half of this, they were giving away too many penalties. And easy kickable penalties, and Huddersfield take the 2 every time you offer it to them. So they were giving away too many kickable penalties.
I was just going to say, I was just so hoping for London to get the win here. After the performance of Hull FC, I think they deserve to finish bottom Hull FC. I don't think London do. So I was wishing a London win.
You'd want them to play each other one more time, wouldn't you? So there's
Winner
something
takes all.
so there's something riding on the end of the season for them as well.
Yeah. Right, that wraps up around the grounds. We're going to come back and send it over to Lewis for the news.
Okay, boys, so it's time for the news. Got a couple of stories for you this week, and the first one on the agenda. We just finished off the Around the Grounds talking about Huddersfield and London. Some news out of Huddersfield. Robinson has been announced as the head coach.
Yeah, he won his first match, didn't he? We said a few weeks ago, probably not the man who... Well, you said he probably wasn't the man who you would give the job to.
I just thought
Somebody else.
that they needed some fresh eyes in there.
He said a variety of candidates from across the rugby league world. Those were his exact words.
But he also said the great work that Luke Robinson had
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
And then you just pointed out that they'd only won 1 game.
Robinson has also, I believe, come out when he got announced. He did a bit of an interview with Sky Sports on the rugby league kind of segment. And he has said that you know, maybe he's got to say this as a coach, I don't know, but he said they're aiming for trophies. And I'm like, well, an A trophy
No,
at the
no,
minute,
not
mate.
really.
You've got a lot of work to do before you start considering trophies.
Thing
But
is,
do you also not think you're looking for trophies every season anyway?
well,
Like, I feel
There
like
is
that's a bit of
that.
a
A
cop-out.
coach can't come in and
Yeah.
just go, we won't finish 8th. You know,
yeah,
they've
we'll
got
be
to
happy
kind
with
of...
ninth, yeah. I think everyone likes Luke Robinson as a person, and everyone liked him as a player, and he was, he's a popular figure, isn't he? So I'll be rooting for Luke Robinson.
I just wonder how he's going to put his prints all over this. How's he going to make it his team?
Well, he could
And
make
not
some
Ian
changes.
Watson's?
He could make some changes. I know one I'd make immediately. I would sign a different fullback, and
Build a team around Ollie Russell.
I'd build a team around Lola here and Ollie Russell. I'd probably build a team around Lola here, and I would not have Jake Connor in this
I've
team.
to be a little bit here now.
I don't know. He's still good enough, isn't he? Like, you watch that game against London, he's the only one who was making anything really. and that was to break down London.
He'll turn 30 at the start of next season, so he's
it's
going to
fine.
get 2-3 years out of him.
I think Lola here. I would run the attack through Lola here, and I would not have Connor.
But I bring some energy at
Bring
fullback.
somebody different in. I think Connor, he's been all right for them, but I think time for somebody new at that position.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Sticking with the coaching kind of theme, something that I think has been rumoured for a while but has finally been announced. Lee Breers, he's done a couple of coaching gigs now. I saw Warrington, obviously with us at Wigan. Did his hand in Down Under, the Brisbane Broncos, and he has now been announced as part of St Helens'
Some
coaching.
CV this it's turning into, isn't it? All the biggest clubs in
I don't know, he's been...
the Northwest plus Brisbane.
It's all right though, because no matter what, that video of him saying he's Wigan through and through will never disappear.
Well, what's he going to say this time?
He can't.
That's his original club, isn't it? St Helens was the original club. As a young halfback coming through.
I actually, it pains me to say it, I think it's what Saints need.
Yeah.
I
think he's only going to help. We've just talked about the fact he only scored a penalty goal against Warrington. Their attack is something we've been pointing out, besides the Clark, Scoot, Magic and Conrad all going one-on-one with someone and Bergin over. They're struggling. That's what I mean. This is what I mean. So that we know their attackers. They've been fine making meters defensive. They've always done that aggressive, pin you on your own line and charge off with good line speed.
Keeping Warrington 16.
They've just not been able to score points. And obviously Breers, Wiggins had the best attack when he was our attacking coach. It looked devastating.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know the play of his personnel helped as well, but you know, Breeze, if he can get his hands all over that, then I think it might be something Saints need.
They have also started shipping points though. I know they've defended well in some games, but they shipped 40 to Hull KR.
20 against us, 16 against Wales were good efforts though.
46 against Lee.
Yeah, that's poor. But
I think he's only going to help him. He's not going to make
that
any
was without
worse, is he?
Wellesby. I think, I think he could do wonders with Wellesby.
The thing for Saints with me is they're going to have to refresh in that squad a lot.
Yeah.
They've made a few signings already.
They've started, but they're going to have to keep going.
Yeah.
They're going to have to change completely the
I
style
think they
of
need a
play.
new centre. That Blake he's going to be gone, I think. And well, it depends what happens with Hurrell, whether they keep him or not.
But if they're going into a season with Percival and Hurrell,
yeah, they need a new centre.
They're not going to play 20 games apiece. Them two.
They do need a new centre. They probably need somebody instead of Matautia because I think he's leaving. But I think they've still got the makings of a decent squad though. I think they've got
They're
some
still a top 6 squad.
They're really good players. Like I think Sailor could be exciting, and Wellesby's obviously very talented.
Actually, he's not going to make him any worse.
No,
is he?
no,
He's only going to go in and help, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Should have probably put this story actually before the one I've just said because it's still got a Huddersfield theme to it. Tom Burgess, obviously, done absolutely marvellously with saves in his career. Done really good putting, as many forwards after he's gone down to Australia. He's definitely one of them. Obviously, he had a kind of big name to fill with Burgess being the last name.
Say, it's a funny one because Burgess went down and made a name, but that name was already made for him, the Burgess thing, and he had to go and prove that he could live up to it.
I think especially because after everything that Sam did, and even George in that 2014 season where he won, he was being dubbed as one of the best props in the world, and it was like, oh yeah, and here's his brother, by the way, his twin brother. So he was kind of in this, the shadows a bit there, but he's definitely...
He's probably got it there, and I don't know if he's legend status at Souths, but for longevity.
I think he's
very highly thought.
He's the tortoise and the hare, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's the tortoise. He got there eventually by being incredible, playing loads and loads of games. I saw a video tribute the Souths had put out before. Brilliant video tribute. If you got 10 minutes, well, probably not 10 minutes, probably 5 minutes. If you got time, go and watch it because the Souths put this brilliant video together. Yeah, I'm sure for him. He scored, didn't he? And he kicked the goal.
And he kicked a goal for him.
and it was Damien Cook putting him through, and it's his last game as well.
Yeah.
For the Rabbitohs.
Surprised Cook didn't kick it. I thought they'd let Cook.
Well, Burgess kicked it.
I think it's the only having a prop foul.
Prop foul.
It wasn't pretty, but there's no pictures on the scoreboard.
It went over.
It went over. So 2 points.
2 points, yeah.
So sticking with the NRL, there's a bit of theme. Obviously, the NRL season is similar, but doesn't directly coincide with Super Leagues. They start a bit early and finish a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So the finals, if you like, obviously they have the fact we've got the playoffs and they have the finals. The finals team has been decided. The top eight is done.
They've got quality sides missing out on the 8 as well, though. If we did a top 8, It'd be all the good sides.
It
Thought
would have been
Brisbane would have
decided.
been in there. You would have thought
Yeah.
South probably would have been there at the start of the
It doesn't
season.
matter. To say.
New Zealand finished fourth last year.
I mean, the last 3 beaten finalists have all failed to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Rabbitohs finishing 16th. Like,
Yeah.
come on,
I know.
that's ridiculous.
Go on, Tom, whilst you've got it loaded up as quickly when I do it.
Well, just to put into this, before like this week, the Raiders played St George, knowing the winner had a chance if the game between the Dolphins and the Knights was a draw.
Yeah, it was a very slim chance, though.
Did you see the video that the Knights put out? The Raiders put out after winning the
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah.
From a thing at Jim Carrey.
but then the Knights beat the Dolphins in a pretty close 14 points to 6 to seal their spot in 8th. Now, the top four works that one plays 4, 2 plays 3. Winner gets a week off.
Yeah,
And into the semi.
we used to do that.
We used to do this.
2 bites the cherry.
Yeah, 2 bites of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cherry thing for the top 4.
But the way that first round of finals is going to work is Melbourne are going to play Cronulla and Penrith are going to play the Roosters. That's going to be a game to watch.
Yeah.
In the 5v8, North Queensland finishing 5th and going to host Newcastle.
That'll be a cracker.
Yeah.
These will all be good games, these.
And Canterbury get to host Manly.
That'll be a great game as well. The only game you can see that's
A big favourite is Melbourne.
is
Cronulla.
Melbourne, because they're on fire against the Sharks. But the Sharks are playing all right, but Melbourne are just on fire.
Yeah.
The rest of those games, you're thinking,
Sydney, unfortunately, have had a couple of big injuries,
Yeah.
haven't they, which might dampen the game a little bit. But hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully they come and compete.
They showed that they could still get points against the Rabbitohs. They got 36.
Yeah, they did. So hopefully they can do the same.
Yeah.
Let's go to a little bit of kind of, I don't know how to put that. It is good news, but it's also very, I don't know.
It's quite sad.
Yeah, sad, but good, and also quite nice in a way. It makes you feel good that, someone's done this. So, we've talked before in this podcast about Whitehaven struggling.
oh yeah,
At the minute, I believe the coach actually left because he wasn't getting paid, wasn't he? And Kyle Amor's taken over. I've not really kept up to date with what's going on at the situation, but something that has happened, I believe, this week is Wakefield have donated. Is that the right word? I suppose.
They put tickets to it £10.
they won the League Leaders Shield, so they were parading that. It was the
Yeah.
third day to parade the League Leaders Shield.
Early on in the week, I think it was the Monday, they said actually any ticket that's bought after now will drop to a tenner. But all of that money, no matter what, is going to Whitehaven. So
Because they probably thought they've made as much as they would have done if it weren't the League Leaders match. So let's give any bonus money.
yeah, it was
to
basically the extra income
Yeah.
that wouldn't have
from the League Leaders thing.
Yeah.
Because lots of them wanted to go and see the League Leaders.
12 grand.
Right,
12 grand,
12 grand, yeah.
which I believe has meant that Whitehaven are now able to kind of finish off this
That's what he said.
Terrible wretched season.
this
that they've had,
season, and try and start whatever they need to do for next season. So a very nice gesture from. A bit sad it's a bit sad it's had to happen in the first place, but a lovely gesture from.
He's done a few things like
Wakefield.
that. He's called Ellis. He's a local lad. I saw him at Wembley for the.
He's looking long term into
He's obviously
He loves
made some. He loves Wakefield Trinity. And he's made some improvements off the pitch, and obviously spent some money on the pitch. I've noticed in that game, Max Jowett broke the record for the most points ever in a season for a Wakefield player.
Wow.
I think he broke Don Fox's record, very old record. It must be Neil Fox. One of the Fox brothers had the record, and Jowett scored an absolute
massive name to take it.
boatload of, and it's stood for a long time. Obviously, that record.
They were down in Wakefield for beating him.
Obviously, he's kicked 1 million goals, which has helped. But also, he finished it with a long range try, which is always nice. You don't want to see him finish it with a goal from right in front.
It would have been nice if I even nailed one from the touchline.
Yeah, you want to see him break the record with a try, don't you? So yeah, good for him. He's still got 1 or 2 games. So 2 more games, he could extend the record.
Plus playoffs, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if the playoffs will count for it because Fox brothers
Regular season,
didn't
yeah.
play in the playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. Second to last one, Paul McShane, former Man of Steel winner, is retiring. So in 2 games' time, I can't think. I can't think who Cash played last. He is, and I think obviously the Man of Steel thing. Everyone, people have got their opinions on that. But even when he was at Leeds, I thought he was always
World Cup challenge, haven't they?
You know, I thought he was always a good player. He
he's
was a good. I thought he was a good defender. He was a good 9. He had a little run out to 9. He's got a kicking game from 9 as well, which I think he's improved. He's got a bit older.
He's had a bad time with injuries the last couple of years.
He
I
has,
think that's probably made his decision a bit easier. But yeah, he's been a good one.
Yeah, he's been a good turn to the league. So all the best to Paul McShane in his retirement.
Sorry, I just
I wonder
checked
what
it.
he's going to do next.
Well, there was talk about him when playing amateur rugby in Australia.
Oh,
Because
really?
there was a big story at the start of the season, McShane to Australia.
Oh, yeah.
And I clicked it and I was like, no way. NRL what? And then
Yeah.
he's going playing amateur rugby over there.
you
but,
would if you could, wouldn't you?
but yeah, he was involved. He won a World Cup challenge with Leeds when they beat Manly. No bad ones win them games.
No, you don't win the World Cup Challenge if you're not a decent player.
Yeah.
And especially if he's played how many seasons now? At least till like 10 or 11.
Debuted in 8.
2008?
2009, sorry.
Oh, right, yeah. So he played. I reckon he's played. What's that?
15 seasons.
10 years.
250
10
games.
years with Cass, or just a bit less.
Went in 2015.
Yeah, so 9 seasons, full seasons with Cass. Been a good player, hasn't
Yeah, it's been a good play, a good shirt. Castleford and to Leeds in his time there, which is good. And then final piece of news for us, Hall of Fame has got 2 more inductees. We've had Jamie Peacock, and my phone has done an autocorrect on my notes. It's not Scunthorpe, it's Sculthorpe. So Jamie Peacock and
he? Yeah.
Paul Sculthorpe inducted into the Super League Hall of Fame,
That's
which I think
the-
everyone would agree is
Yeah, that's to the Men's Hall of Fame. And Jane Banks and Michelle Land have gone into the Women's Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So they've done 2 each.
Yeah, which is what I think again. I can't think you think of legends of Super League
Yeah.
and rugby league in general, and English
Yeah,
talent in Great Britain. You think Jamie Peacock and Paul
do.
Sculthorpe,
I do.
names, don't we?
There's been 2 good
2
players then.
legends of the game.
Yeah, 2 legends.
100%.
Who actually selects who's been inducted?
And it's not a Super League one, it's a Rugby League one. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of it actually goes off what they've done for England and Great Britain.
Yeah,
Which makes sense.
Because it's an RFL. Yeah, I guess so. But they were great players in Super League, both of them.
they were. Yeah, they
Yes,
were.
yeah, so
Well deserved, I think. Okay, lads, and that wraps up the news for this week. So I believe we are doing some predictions when we come back for next week as the end of the season draws in. Join us after the break.
So we're back to finish off the chat about Super League and the predictions. But there's something we've really got to mention first of all, and it's the race for the 6. It's really hotting up now. There's a lot of positions up for grabs. Home semi-final, home eliminators, home semi-finals. Top 2 seems pretty set. Top 3 seems pretty set. But who's going to get that? Most importantly, who's going to get that 4th spot? Get the home semi-final. We talked before about how important it would be for Salford to get it, and the phenomenal home record. How important it would be to make the 6, because there's 5 teams going for it. Catalans have possibly pushed themselves to. They need a lot to go their way to Catalans. They're in 8th at the moment.
all
They
them
need the
clubs,
results.
all them clubs would have been at the start of the season. We have to be in the playoffs, non-negotiable.
It would be disappointing for those who don't make it, obviously, but for a neutral's point of view, for like a Leeds point of view, something going right down to the wire, it's made an exciting season.
Well, the only one who I think won't be disappointed if they missed out, and I think they're a lock in to make it, Lee.
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Because
if
they
Lee
had such a horrible start with the injuries and
horrible start with injuries, backing up on what they did last year, Challenge Cup final, make the playoffs.
we were saying they should fight for the playoffs, but they don't really have to get in.
If they got 7th or 8th,
Yeah, as long as they were
defeated.
fighting, as long as they were closer to them than the bottom 4, which did,
they are.
At one point, it looked like they're coming through the ranks. They're going to finish top of that little mini league, and then all of a sudden they're fighting for the playoffs.
They've really kicked on.
They've had a
Probably
great
from that
comeback.
draw at Cass. They kicked on big since then. Got injuries back. So, Salford 4th, Lee 5th, Saints 6th, Leeds and Catalans are 7th and 8th at the moment. A lot of it's based on points difference. And I think it'll be Leeds and Catalans to miss out.
Yeah.
I can't work out in my head which way I think 4, 5, 6 will finish. I've just got a sneaky feeling that Lee might get a home.
I think Catalan will win the rest of their games. Leeds will lose the rest of their games, and they'll both miss out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you could be right there, Matty.
Do you think Saints can get a home eliminator?
Yeah, I do. I really do think they could, because I think
That would require
they'll target winning the last 2 games.
that would require Lee and Salford not winning a game.
If they win this week, they'll get a few back. You know, the bands will all be back. They get a few back for that league game. They'll go heavy for that.
Mm.
Big game that Saints and Lee now last week.
Massive game.
Yeah, it is.
Big game that, isn't it? For jostling for position.
You probably wouldn't have guessed it at the start of the season that they'd be jostling for a position.
Saints and Lee.
Last year didn't Hull KR and
Hull KR and Lee swapped
on the last day
On the
because
last
Hull
day.
KR beat whoever away from home, but Lee had to play us.
No, I think Hull KR won a match at home.
Was it quite convincingly? They put like 50 on.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it was a points difference.
On points,
wasn't it?
they won it on points difference.
They went above them on points difference.
Right. Let's do some predictions. Wigan Leeds. I'm not going to ask you to predict it.
No, we don't.
Any thoughts on this game?
I'd like you to be right about dishing out a bit of revenge. I'd like you to be right on that one. I'd like to see some of our partnerships cooking again.
Yeah.
I think this is the one we're going to be flying for.
I hope so. I hope we start turning it on a bit more now.
But also, if we can win this, we're guaranteed top 2. Then we get a week off.
I'd still like to see. I'd still like to see our solid defence, which we've had all season, pretty much. Yeah,
I want to see an 80-minute performance building into the playoffs. I want to see us, we are going to make errors. I'm not saying no drop balls, that's not happening again. You are going to make errors. But I think tidy up, not as many penalties given away.
Not as many missed tackles.
Be a bit better.
Tackles and just a solid 80-minute where you think, besides 1 or 2 hours there,
That was brilliant.
we've had a really good solid game. So that's what you need as you get into the playoffs and finals rugby. So, hopefully an 80-minute solid performance.
Good point, Matt.
Right, next one is Saints Castleford. Saints lost to Castleford last time at home.
They did.
Yeah.
Can you see anyone see a repeat?
No, I think Saints with this.
I agree with Lewis. I think Saints.
Yeah, I see Saints winning this. Lee, Hull KR. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think Lee are going to win this.
Yeah, I think this is a coin flip game for me. I think a lot was taken out of Hull KR in the previous game against us, and I think Lee had a comfortable-ish sort of game. So it's never easy. These two teams have played each other. I know they swapped places in the final day last season, and then Hull KR knocked Lee out of the playoffs. So it was obviously the famous cup final. So I think it's not going to be easy. I'm going to go with Hull KR, but it's very close.
Yeah, I'm similar. I think it could go either way. I'm going to go Hull KR because I feel like they have to bounce back after losing to us. I feel like if they're to go back-to-back defeats, a lot of people might start writing them off and think they've already had the grand final.
I'm just thinking here, there's a world that it can go very quickly dangerous for Hull KR here. Just in terms of, if they don't win this week and results go the way of like Leeds, for example, Leeds could be going to Hull KR still thinking they have a chance to get in playoffs. And Warrington could be thinking they could get second, and suddenly you could see yourself playing in that 3rd v 6th game.
Look, you want confidence going into big games, and if you lose back-to-back games, you start to lose confidence, don't you? So, yeah, I think Hull KR, they need to win this thing to keep the confidence, to keep the belief up, to keep the positive momentum going into the playoffs. I think back-to-back defeats, no team wants them at any point, but definitely Hull KR do not want them right now.
Good point.
Yeah. So you're going Hull KR as well, Lewis?
I'm going okay. I think they need to. Yeah, I think it's a must-win for them.
Right, I know we're all going to struggle with this prediction, but could Hull FC get another win? Salford don't travel well.
I don't think they'll get another win. I think Salford will do it.
I'm backing Salford. I was trying to make it entertaining.
I don't think it'll be a walkover. I think the Hull will have some sort of response, but I don't think it'll be anywhere near enough.
No.
Do you think they'll walk over again?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I think if Salford get points early, that's going to be hostile.
Well, will they turn up first to be hostile?
Well, that'll be saying enough. But one of the only players I was impressed with was that Jed Cartwright.
He's in suspension,
I really don't know. Right, all going Salford. Huddersfield take on Warrington.
Yeah, don't expect anything from Huddersfield now. They've got that win for Robinson. They can just relax now. They've got the coach sorted for next season. They just roll over for whoever's left on the docket.
I want to ask you, if you were Tom Burgess coming in and you signed for Ian Watson, and you see how this season's gone, and then suddenly they appoint Luke Robinson. They're not going to have made a big change there after sacking the coach. How would you be feeling?
I think he'll be excited because he could have seen how bad it was under Watson, and he could be the main man for the for the new start, fresh start. I think he'll be excited. I think that's the sort of character he is.
Yeah, that does.
And that's how I would feel. That's the sort of character I would feel like that. I would be like, oh, I'm excited. I could turn it around here.
I could be the one.
I'll back Luke Robinson. I'll get on. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I think so. He's going to bring some leadership in his inexperience. And that's, he's still a very good player. He's got his size, he's got his build, his speed. He'll disrupt some defensive lines.
Warrington here, I think they might try and use the squad a little bit. Give a few minutes to a few players that maybe haven't had the minutes in the legs.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe start resting a couple. Walker might have a week off. Get him ready for the week after and go into the playoffs. I know a lot of teams don't like resting the week before a big game.
I don't like resting in players. No.
So that's why I think they might rest a couple this week and then have them all firing for the week after.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what he picks there with it, what lineup he picks.
Last game, also on Saturday.
We're all going Warrington.
Yeah, we're all going Warrington. I think Warrington could play at reserves and still beat them at this point.
Yeah, Huddersfield won't be everything to play for.
Catalans London.
Yeah, Catalans for me. Catalans have got nice fixtures home now. And it's one of the reasons I was always putting them in my six, but they didn't
I think
get
it's too little too late.
It is, I think, too little too late. I think they'll win both games though. I'd like. I know Tompkins has already had his big moment, hasn't he, in front of the French crowd last year. But it's going to be weird. Is he signing off again?
No, I think this. For me, he might not even play. We've seen the documentary, that video of his knee.
Yeah,
that is horrible.
He's obviously. He's come back. He's played 2 games. It was a desperation act, wasn't it?
I don't see what you've got to
risk it.
Yeah, he's got nothing to prove, has he?
No, he's definitely not.
He's got nothing to prove.
McNamara might use this as a let's get a couple of young French lads in.
He had 2 good moments. He had the last home game in the regular season where him and Mitch Pearce said goodbye, and he had the knocking out St Helens in the last second while the fans came on the pitch. Why would you try and tarnish that with another game?
I think he just loves it.
He does. He loves the club and he loves the game too much. I think. And they needed somebody like him. They needed some leadership.
If they were going to make, if they make the 6 and he plays,
yeah, it's different. If they're only 2 points behind, it's different.
Yeah.
But with them being 4 behind,
but they might not need him for these last 2 games anyway, and potentially
they
make
still win. Still win both games anyway. Well, we'll see. We'll see if he plays and.
Yeah, Catalan are going to be too strong for London, I think.
Not going to be too strong.
Yeah. Right. That wraps it up. Another enjoyable episode.
Yes.
Hoping to potentially see some silverware lifted soon.
Yeah.
From a Wigan perspective.
Yeah.
If we get a positive result in the next couple of weeks. I can't wait, lads. It's going to be a really good end of the season.
It's down to the business end, isn't it, now? Yeah.
This is when you start thinking about rugby, like. You play on a Friday, you wake up on a Saturday and you're like...
Think about rugby again. I start taking my court to the games and start thinking about those.
They're playing well.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Or they've peaked too soon. They've had to expend everything to get in. I love this time of year. It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. We wouldn't swap it for the world.
No. Right, thank you for listening, guys. It's been a great episode and we'll see you next week.